Bad bank is inching closer to reality. The government has decided to set up a committee of bankers to look into new mechanisms to help resolve the problem of stressed assets faster. The committee will look at the feasibility of setting up an asset management company, a topic which has been debated for many years now. A panel headed by PNB Chairman Sunil Mehta will submit its recommendations in 2 weeks. Listen in to what experts had to say.
All the bankers are now wishing to set up such a mechanism which will enable faster resolution of stressed accounts in a very transparent and speedy manner, and will put it up to their boards for necessary consideration. A committee has been formed under the chairmanship of Mr. Sunil Mehta, non-executive chairman of Punjab National Bank, which over the next 2 weeks will come out with their recommendations of a suggestion that was deliberated in great detail amongst the bankers today, who believe that it may be worth considering to set up an asset reconstruction company and or an asset management company. We believe the various steps and initiatives taken by the government, by the Reserve Bank of India and by these banks for an true and fair picture, an honest recognition of the state of affairs of these banks, of an honest appraisal of the asset quality of these banks, which has been fast-tracked over the last 2.5 years.
Was the interim finance minister highlighting the key agenda of that meet and what the plan is going ahead. But let's also get views from former SBI chairman A.K. Purvar and Abhizar Divanji, who's the partner and national leader of financial services at EY, about India on the establishment of a bad bank. ET now in fact got not just these two people but a whole host of experts to discuss the issue in detail. So let's go across to that discussion.
Going forward, I personally feel that yes, this is something, the focus on stress assets is the need of the hour. The way in which NPAs have ballooned in the system, they need to be addressed and they need to be resolved. Definitely, it will add one more player in the resolution of NPAs, and I think it should be a welcome move. But the point is, it has to be adequately capitalized so as to ensure that they are able to effectively participate in the market.
Asset reconstruction company of this kind, asset management company or a bad bank as you may call it, is possibly the best way to do it. Why? Because one is, of course, we need to de-stress the balance sheets out of the stress out of the existing balance sheets of the banks and keep them separately. That's one reason to do it. But the more important reason to do is to aggregate exposures and have a single decision maker.
The key decision is about improving the flow of credit to the accounts which are good accounts and under consortium and multiple, and flow of credit to MSMEs. How do they get credit in timely manner? Third is about how do we segregate the NPAs and whether there can be an AMC ARC which is especially set up, और उससे जो managements की bandwidth है उसको दूर किया जाए. और चौथा जो issue है कि जो risk governance structure है banks का, उसमें एक दूसरे से क्या learn कर सकते हैं.
The FM was also very clear. He's not interested in specifics around Bank A and Bank B and Bank C. He wants to, effectively that entire decision is now a decision of the bank and that of the board and the boards of both the banks as a matter of fact, and whatever are the appropriate regulatory clearances were there. So I don't think we specifically got down to discussing this or that because it's not the intention of the government, as I say it, to be involved in the micromanagement of these aspects. The question is, or inorganic growth is also a methodology. Some amount of consolidation is also considered desirable by most people. And the objective, as I was explaining earlier, was that it's not intended to create a weak bank, it's not a bailout, but rather to look at mechanisms whereby there could be greater scale, greater efficiency, and better products and services to the customer. That's where it stood, but I don't think there was any specific discussion on specific transactions or even recommendation or any of those sort that why don't you guys to speak together. No, I think they're staying with the principle that, that those are all decisions for the respective boards and banks to make.
All right, well, whole host of experts and whole host of industry voices. It was not only, in fact, the former SBI chairman, A.K. Parwar, but we also, in fact, had none other than Rajneesh Kumar as well as P.S. Jayakumar, the incumbent heads of SBI as well as BOB right here on your channel. But it's not only them. ET now, in fact, debated and discussed this entire issue in detail on the India development debate. Listen in to what the whole host of experts had to say on the issue.
In my opinion, Mr. Goel has recently been given this charge of the finance ministry. He has to show to the public that he is doing something. Therefore, this announcement of his, in my opinion, is old wine in new bottles. I really don't see anything substantial happening of it. We have had so many ARCs, as Mr. Pradeep Chaudhary has pointed out. None of them have been a great success. Even those which have had limited successes, there are a lot of stories how promoters have gone behind the backs and, done the deals and, got the recovery done. So this whole concept of ARC in the Indian context, and from what I have seen for the last, 5 years that they've been in operation, really the entire resolution process has really not come about. Now, we were hoping that the IBC, would bring about this resolution process, but I think that is also giving mixed results. So, in my opinion, by now throwing in this ARC, and there are already so many ARCs, why this particular ARC should be a success, I really fail to understand how it can be a success, because, as it has been pointed out even earlier, the processes, the systems of recovery, all has to be going through the existing system. There is no new system.
Mr. Chaudhary, if I may come to you, as the 2017 economic survey rightly pointed out, a bad bank will come at a price since loans have been made and losses incurred, now making a bulk of the burden fall on the shoulders of the government. I know you're not a big fan, but I just want to talk from the government affordability point of view, from the point of view of stakeholders. Can we afford a price of that magnitude to be paid right now, even though it may lead to cleanup?
The price that will have to be paid is no different whether you take the ARC route or you allow the loans to remain in the bank. But what I am worried about, that it will create a moral hazard, because the banks will again go and say that, well, let me take on this loan, let me do this exposure. If it works fine, then I will be doing a victory lap, and if it does not, there is always the ARC where I can dump the assets. This we have seen even in the bank, within the bank. We had a stressed asset group and a corporate and a mid-corporate group. So these people, some of them took very ambitious and adventurous calls, saying that, well, till it performs, I am the beneficiary, not personally, but this group. And the moment it becomes non-performing, I can leave it at the doors of the stressed asset group. So these kind of things should happen, but even the ARC, see, I am associated with one ARC. Supposing you transfer the loan to an ARC, it is not a static situation. The company does not come to a halt. The company has to be kept running. And in order to keep it running, it would need guarantees, or else, just let me exemplify this. Supposing you take a power asset which has gone into default, and as the formula suggests, you transfer it to an ARC, but then by itself the deals won't be recovered. So you have to let that power company perform. Now power company has to go and bid for a PPA. The moment you go and bid for a PPA, the electricity authority said, give me a guarantee. And when they give a guarantee, then the Coal India says that bring a LC. I don't know whether you will take the coal or pay for it or not. So even in the resolution stage, the company has to be kept going, and it is best done if it remains within the bank.
Well, those were some, wide range, wide array of perspectives coming in on this big development of bad banks coming once again on the table.